And you can see right there, there's a weir dam out my right side, and they're just going back and forth to Mexico.
And I see a path that's being set up.
Well, that path is an actual drag road, if that's what you're talking about. And that's a drag road that we use before all of this happened here. Basically, we get dragged every day, and that way we can check for foot sign throughout the day, mornings and throughout the day, for illegal crossers if they cross in the dirt. But you can see the weir dam right there, the amount of people that are coming across Mexico right now. And then they get on the drag road and head straight to the processing bridge right there.
Okay, see the weir dam's right out to your left.
Are there?
Bruh. What is happening to this country, guys? What is happening? I don't want to laugh because it's not a laughing matter. But man, I just can't help but laugh at the fact that this Biden administration is the biggest disaster to ever happen to this country. That's what it seems like. Because just when you thought that the border crisis couldn't get worse, okay, it has gotten even worse, okay? It has gotten even worse as now we have thousands of Haitians, right? Not Mexicans, not people from South America, okay? Guatemala. No, not those people. Haitians, all right? Haitians showing up at the Mexican border. What is going on? What is going on? Guys, when I read this story, I just could not, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. But I couldn't believe it at the same time because this is the Biden administration, guys. Okay, guys, just pray for our Border Patrol agents. I'm so serious. Because these guys are being overworked, overwhelmed, and they're not getting any help from the Biden administration. Okay? These guys are our frontline defense for this country, and they don't get nearly enough recognition. They just don't. I feel so terrible for some of these guys. I really do. On top of that, they're being exposed potentially to this virus that the Democrats say they want to stop so much, but apparently they, don't want to stop it enough to get rid of open borders. The worst part about this, guys, is the fact that this is so embarrassing, right? The Biden administration knows how embarrassing this is. That they have banned drone flights over the bridge that a lot of these Haitian migrants are under, okay, for processing and stuff like that, so that the American people can't see how bad it is, okay? We have our little border town of Del Rio, Texas being overwhelmed by Haitians. And, you got news stations like Fox News doing their job, right? Flying their drones over it so that they can get live footage for the American people to see. And after the Fox News actually ran this report, lo and behold, the FAA comes out and bans drone flights, right? Basically, it's a cover-up. Biden's trying to cover it up. He's trying to cover up his disaster. It's nuts. This is insane. Let's read here. The Biden administration has been accused of trying to cover up the extent of the migrant crisis after the Federal Aviation Authority issued a flight ban over the U.S.-Mexican border to stop drones capturing footage of more than 10,000 people living camped out under a bridge. The FAA implemented a 2-week flight ban over the Del Rio Port of Entry and an international bridge in the city of Del Rio, Texas, Thursday night, claiming that the move was for special security reasons to prevent drones from interfering with law enforcement flights on the border. Yeah, sure it was. Sure it was. They put in the ban so that Fox News wouldn't embarrass you. That's why. So you couldn't see these disturbing images of people coming across the border. The ban effectively grounded a Fox News drone hours after the network released shocking footage showing thousands of migrants living in a squadron under the bridge as they crossed the U.S.'s southern border and waited to be processed by Border Patrol. More than 10,000 mostly Haitian migrants have gathered there in recent days in a temporary camp, which have ballooned since Joe Biden halted deportation flights back to Haiti. More than 10,000 mostly Haitian migrants have gathered there in recent days in a temporary camp which has ballooned since Joe Biden halted deportation flights back to Haiti. The president canceled deportation flights of migrants to Haiti on September 8th, and the Department of Homeland Security extended temporary protection status to Haitian nationals while the country is rocked by its biggest crisis since the 2010 earthquake. Under TPS, foreign nationals cannot be deported back to countries hit by natural or man-made disasters, enabling Haitians to live in the U.S. without legal status. Senator Ted Cruz said that in the space of just 8 days, the population of the camp has surged from 700 on September 8th to 10,503 on September 16th. All right, guys, so you can see some pictures here of all these people living under a bridge, guys, camped out. And we can't send them back. So we're going to listen to what Ted Cruz has to say. Take a look.
I'm here in Del Rio, Texas, September 16th. I'm underneath the bridge. Behind me are 10,503 people. This is a crisis that is unfolding. It's a man-made crisis. Just over a week ago, there were fewer than 1,000 people here under the bridge, averaging between 700 and 1,000. Then, on September 8th, the Biden administration made a decision to cancel deportation flights back to Haiti. The vast majority of these illegal immigrants crossing in Del Rio are from Haiti. When they made that decision 8 days ago, 700 to 1,000 people who were here discovered they could stay. They pulled out their cell phones. They called their friends. They called their family. And 8 days later, 700 people became 10,503. This is a disaster, and it is a man-made disaster. It is the result of political decisions, and Joe Biden could end this tomorrow by simply following the law and reinstating the deportation flights back. When you have open borders, this is what you have. Let me say to the heroes, the men and women of Border Patrol, who are risking their lives trying to do a job that their political superiors won't let them do. We appreciate your courage. We appreciate your service. This is wrong. This is not humane. This is not compassionate. This is lawless, and it is inviting suffering. This needs to end.
All right, guys. So essentially what Ted Cruz is saying is that these Haitians, right, they pulled up, and when they realized that they couldn't be sent back, and that Biden was stopping deportation flights back to Haiti, essentially they decided to call their relatives, their homeboys, and said, yo, the border's open, pull up, they can't send us back, right? So now that they figure out they can't send them back, everybody and their mama pulled up to the southern border trying to get in, because Biden decided to temporarily fold to the woke revolutionaries in regards to stopping deportation flights and granting them temporary protection status, which means that they can basically stay in the country, right? They can stay in the United States. So, I mean, these people are taking that to mean that, hey, this is free game, open borders. Now, allegedly, Biden is planning on deporting them to Haiti next week, right? ICE is planning on doing that next week. However, there are Democrat lawmakers that are urging Biden not to do that, right? They're urging Biden to basically stop the deportations and let them into the country. That's what they're urging them to do. That's what Democrats want them to do. So it remains to be seen whether or not Biden's actually going to do that. But guys, the funny part about this is that these Haitians are not even from Haiti, right? Well, put it this way, they're not directly from Haiti. These Haitians are actually from South America, mainly places like Brazil, because after the earthquake in 2010, a lot of them moved to South America. They went to places like Brazil during the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, okay, to try to get jobs, right? So after those jobs dried up, they started pouring into the United States. So Haitians have been trying to come in for a minute now, but it hasn't been to this level. But now with this recent crisis in Haiti in regards to the assassination of their president and the most recent earthquake that happened in August, now because of Biden stopping deportation flights and granting them temporary protection status, which basically means that we can't do anything with them for right now, temporarily, that is, because they're coming over here as basically refugees. Essentially, now they're just kind of allowed to stay in the United States. And they're taking advantage of that. Not the Haitians that are actually coming from the island of Haiti, right? Because again, when I first read this story, I was like, this don't make sense. There's no way these guys are coming from Haiti, getting on a boat and going to Mexico, right, to try to cross the Mexican border into the United States. No, that's not what's happening. There are Haitians that were actually living in South America that took advantage of this and was like, oh, there was a crisis in Haiti, which means that if we pull up to the U.S. southern border, they might not send us back, right? Which is exactly what's happening right now. So this is insane. And it is absolutely pathetic that the Biden administration is trying to cover this up. I mean, for political reasons. They're not letting drones fly over the area. And they're trying to cover it up and say, oh, no, we're doing it, for law enforcement, blah, blah, blah. No. You're doing it because you don't want the American people to see the disaster going on at the border. You're doing it because your approval rating is in the tank. That's why you're doing it. That's why he's doing it. Guys, just when you think this administration couldn't get worse, it just does, right? Also on top of that, guys, I mean, listen, we got people from Afghanistan coming in too, right? We got a ton of refugees from Afghanistan coming in. On top of all the other non-Haitians that are also trying to cross the southern border. And that's at an all-time high as well. I mean, we basically got open borders in this country, right? If you want to come to the U.S., no matter where you're from, all you got to do is say you're a refugee, right? All you got to do is just say you're a refugee and you can pull up, right? Whether you're from South America, whether you're from the Middle East, no matter. You can just pull up and Biden's like, hey, come one, come all. That's kind of what it seems like. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.